Welcome back to another episode of God Built This podcast. I'm your host, Maxine, and welcome back. I know it's been a while. 2 weeks, but that's still a long time, and I definitely do apologize. This is something that I need to be more consistent with because I know that God has placed it within me to do. And I know the enemy is trying to discourage me, trying to make me procrastinate and feel doubtful. But that just proves that God is really moving within me, that He's telling me there's a purpose why I created this podcast. There's a purpose why I've given you this voice. This is purpose why I've called you to speak and speak up and be the truth teller that I have called you to be. So please accept my apologies, and I will try to be better, not bitter, better. But yeah, I read a quote a while ago, a couple of weeks ago, that said, no one's going to take your product seriously if you don't take it seriously. So here I am making a pledge to myself to take it more seriously, to God to give me the strength, because I know life will have every reason to kind of steer you off course, and the enemy is prowling and trying to discourage me every second of the way. And if you know me personally, you know that I am someone who is sensitive, someone who kind of has a hard time getting out of my own head. And so that discourages me a lot whenever I go through different motions in my life and in my walk with Christ. So I'm just being transparent as I usually am on here, and I hope you guys could continue to listen and support. And I just want to shout out the high viewing. Well, hi to me. I know there are other podcasts out there, other podcasts that I listen to on my own time, like the Joe Budden podcast. I love him. But yeah, his podcast gets about 230,000 listens weekly, if not more. And I'm definitely not on that level, I know. But I do appreciate the victories that I have experienced with this podcast. I do appreciate the listens that I have experienced. And when I last checked my last episode of Faith Means Risk, the previous episode, episode 12, I realized that 78 of y'all from last I checked listened. And I just want to say thank you, whoever y'all are. If y'all could just reach out to me and let me know, hey, it was me. I was one of the 78. I will greatly appreciate that. But it really means wonders to me. It means just, it has a strong impact on me, just because sometimes I just question, is anyone even like listening? Like who's really like paying attention? Who really cares? And there might be people out there who really don't care and who wants to see me fail, and that's part of life, and that's fine. But I know there are people out there who God has assigned for me to reach out towards, whether I know you personally or whether I know you indirectly or whether I don't know you at all and you just happen to come across my podcast. I just want to say thank you for your listen, and I encourage you to reach out to me. I am friendly, I am open, I am in need of just hearing from y'all. So I encourage you to do so. Anyways, I had to get all that off my chest. And let's go ahead and get started. So if you haven't following me on Instagram, you would kind of piece together a couple of things. And if you know me personally, you'll know that I have recently moved from Boston, Massachusetts to Houston, Texas. And when I say recently, I literally mean an hour ago. No, not an hour ago, but by the time you hear this podcast, it will be about a week. So yeah, it's fresh like that. And I have been purposely procrastinate. I mean, procrastination is on purpose anyway when you really think about it, but I have been avoiding kind of getting into the root of the process of emotions that I'm going through and talking it out, because I am the one experiencing this emotional roller coaster, and it's hard. It's hard. Although that I I have been convicted about coming here, and I believe God has sent me here. And I'll explain everything, but let me just say this. Even when you step out on faith, it is still scary. Okay? Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Even if you are in the will of God, right? You're doing what God has called you to do, it is still scary. You will still find yourself in the wilderness. You will still be doubtful and trepidatious about your steps, because it seems like you're just walking like you know how there's an image out there of someone walking up steps, but they don't know where the step is going to lead them to. That is how I'm feeling right now. That is literally the visual depiction of what I am going through. I'm just taking steps, but I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if I'm taking a left or right. I don't know if I'm going in circles, but I believe I am going in the direction that God is calling me to go to. When I tell you God is my homie, my right hand, my left hand, my behind, my front, my side, my vertical, my diagonal, He is literally every position, every type of friend in my life, every roll dog in my life. He is that. God has been my source throughout this transition, and it's still a transition. It is still a season of learning and growing, and I don't know if that will ever change in life in general. I could be steadfast in a season, but I am still learning and growing. So I don't know when this feeling of complacency will ever come to play, or if that even is of God. I'm not sure, but y'all, it's a process. It's really a process. And I just want to just talk about that. And I know in the previous episode, I talked about how faith means risk. And it may feel scary. It may feel you're walking on just tready waters, but understand that God is literally, He is guiding you through it. And He will walk with you if you allow Him in, if you allow Him to do so. Now that I have literally practiced what I preached last episode, I am here to just talk about my fresh experience in stepping out on faith in this big faith filled, bold way. And it's so different, y'all. Like, I've lived away from my parents once before, and that's only in the context of living on campus, being in college, being in undergrad. And living on campus, that's just what you do, for the most part. I know some people commuted, and that's fine, but when you live on campus, it is scary as well, but there's a community there. There are people who are obviously on the same boat as you, people who have lived on campus and who have lived away from their parents for the first time, and they're going through the same emotions, and they eventually get over it. And that's what I experienced, as everyone else did, while living on campus. But you're with a group of people, you're with a community of people who are literally going through it at the same time. So it's just that understanding, and there are tools set in place at the school that kind of helps the transition and the adjustment. But being a young adult, I'm 27, and living away from home, living in a whole different state, that hours away, states away from my home state, is definitely a different territory. It's definitely a new territory, and I am on an emotional roller coaster, and I don't even know Like, what's up, you know? Um, okay, so let's just start from the beginning. Okay, so I want to say the past few months, I've been feeling, not even the past, honestly, since last year, since the end of last year, I've been feeling this desire to, not just a desire, but I've been feeling a conviction to do more, to step out on faith more, to get out of my comfort zone, to be bold and to go ahead and go forth. I've been feeling like not feeling like I have reached a plateau in my professional life, in my personal life, in my spiritual life, and I haven't been getting the filling, FILLING, that I've been yearning for. And I've been seeking for it online, watching different preaches and sermons and testimonies and different things that has been fueling me up. But in my everyday life, I've been feeling like I've been going through like the motions of life. Like, okay, that's it. And I feel like there's more to life. And I honestly don't even have an exact picture or an exact word to describe what I'm looking for, what I'm searching for, but I just know I'm on a journey. I'm on a journey right now, and this is a stop in my journey, and this is a different point in my journey. And I, I know God has brought me here, has led me here, but even though He has brought me here, it is still scary. It's new. It's a change, and it's, anyways, I could go on and on, but let me just kind of order my thoughts. So I wrote this down, trying to get some order. So yeah, so the past year, so like a few months, I've been feeling convicted about just stepping out of my comfort zone, just trying to do more. In the Bible, it talks about God has given us a spirit of power, and sometimes it says bold, depending on which Bible you have. But it's power, it's boldness, all of that in that same context. And when He gives us that spirit, there are things that we have the opportunity to do that may not be comfortable, that may not be something that we choose to do. It may not be something that others would expect or want for us to do, but we feel a calling to go ahead and do it. So the spirit of boldness could look like, it could look different for anyone. But if you have had a desire to kind of be a speaker, but you find yourself to be a shy or introverted person, yet being a speaker has been a passion of yours, or you find a conviction when you look at other speakers and you're thinking to yourself, wow, I want to speak like that. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I have this to talk about, but I just can't find myself to get out and get up there and get up on the altar or get up in front of this conference and speak. But when God has called for you to do that and to step out of your comfort zone, He will open up doors and opportunities for you to feel enabled and encouraged to go ahead and do so. So, when I've been feeling convicted about moving forward and moving past what's comfortable and trying to be stretched, it was placed in my heart to seek for employment in Houston, Texas. As I was doing my research, I learned of different opportunities to grow professionally. I even researched churches that I could be a part of, find a church that is right for me, and that could, that could speak to my spirit. So I was like, look at different churches online, and not online, but through Instagram. And it was just like a lot of different things were just making me feel like, okay, Houston is a place. Houston is a place for me to go and move to. So I've been applying to jobs for the past 2 months. 2 months, and I haven't heard anything of strength yet until the past couple of days. and I get a phone call from one of the schools I applied to, and they came across my resume and they were just like so impressed. She was like, I'm so impressed by your resume. I just feel like this is what you have to offer, what you can contribute will be amazing to our school. Oh, like just like hyping me up to the point where I was on the phone and I'm just looking at the phone like, is this a joke? What? Like, is this a joke? Because literally she was saying everything so as if like she like as if something has been placed within her to give me a call, and some of the words that she was saying showed me that she was a person of faith, a person who believed in God. She not only said different words that made that clear, but she also mentioned God. She was like, I was just praying to God. Like she said that. And I never had an employer tell me they were praying to God. What? Usually you keep God out of the workplace. And even as a Christian, that's some things that okay, I get it. Some people feel uncomfortable. There are atheists out there who, maybe your colleague who may be sitting right next to the cubicle you're at and may feel uncomfortable with the talk of God. And okay, but to have this employer literally say things that I've been saying and praying about, and she's saying it so freely, and she was just so impressed with me. Like I didn't have to necessarily beg for the job. It was mine. It was just mine. So when she was just asking me about my experience, like it went into a phone interview, but I wasn't in a headspace of like, oh, I hope they like me. Oh, I hope they accept me. I hope they really. I just instantly knew that it was mine. I just knew that it was mine because all that I had on my resume was enough for her to immediately started talking to me as if this is mine. And they said they came across other resumes and there was no one else who had who had what they wanted like mine. So not push comes to shove, but like literally the next day I flew in because the phone interview went so well. I flew into Houston. I packed up all of my things and I flew in, and I had the declaration and hope and faith in knowing that this job is mine. Mind you, we kind of already talked about money, negotiation on salary and like my role. Like it just felt legit. But they wanted to meet me in person to make sure that I am who I said I was. So but like over the phone, it wasn't a guarantee like, okay, this is yours, but it wasn't said like that like directly, but it was kind of clear for me. So that's why I packed up all my things. I just had that faith. But we go, okay, so I fly in. I'm in the office. They're like boom boom tag teaming with me with different interview questions, and then literally the same questions. So I'm elaborating, I'm talking more, I'm repeating myself, and I'm kind of feeling, dang, what if this isn't for me? And at that point I didn't share the news with everybody. I just shared it with the core people in my life. And so when I was thinking to myself like, oh my gosh, I feel silly to have brought all of my bags, all of the clothes and shoes that I would need to just come fly out here just to not have this job. Like this job better be mine. So it was a long process of like tag team of questions, and I expected the job offer right at the end of the interview, but instead I was told, oh, we have another interview coming in 2 hours, so we're gonna check in with your references in the meantime, and you will hear back from me by this afternoon. And I'm just like, nigga, what? Come again? Because I didn't hear you. What? So I'm just like, how you give that smile at work, and you're just like, not at work, but like at a potential place of employment, and you're just like, okay, well, there goes that. Hope for the best. And I walked away with tears in my eyes. And I just said to myself, like, well, self, if this ain't it, it ain't it, And I just felt like, you know, I'll just get on the next flight to Boston. Okay, so time goes by. I get a phone call, and I'm waiting to, hear what the verdict is. The first phone call I get from the potential employer was just, oh, we just wanted to confirm whether or not you was on board with, the responsibilities for this position. Just trying to make sure that I am fully committed to what is assigned for this position. And I'm like, yeah. What? Yeah. Do you want me to write it down again? Do you want me to translate it to 5 different languages? Like, what's yes? Okay, yes is universal. What's up? Okay. So, and they said, okay, we'll give you a call back soon. Soon, like later on that day, he said. So I'm like, okay. So an hour and a half passes by, and I'm just like, you know what? I need to pray away this spirit of worry, of anxiety, and just hope for the best. And let me try to like distract myself. And then I get another phone call. I finally get that phone call. And the potential employer says, I'm going to send you this document and I want you to look over it. Consider it as a test. And I just want you to determine, like, how would you, respond to this document? So, the whole purpose of it is for us to see how you work. We just want to see how you work. And I'm just like, huh? And of course I'm saying, huh, in my head. But I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I'm just thinking to myself, are you kidding me? If you wanted me to complete this document, why wasn't it said beforehand? Why wasn't it said before I flew out here, But anyways, it was sent to me. I completed the document, and another hour passes by. So by this time, it's in the evening, okay? It's evening time. I should be asleep. But it's evening time. I finally get the phone call again. So this is now the third phone call, and boom, I get offered a position. It was after I was asked, hey, how are you feeling? I know today was long. Literally, these words were said to me, and then I was offered a position. And I tried to maintain my composure, but I was excited. And I was like, I let out a scream. But it was an exciting time. And as soon as I finished that phone call, I called my sister, and we shared the same bliss of excitement and all of that, and it was great. And it was a great moment for me, a euphoric moment, and my parents were happy for me. But let's talk about how when you accept something that's new and it's exciting, there is a high that comes with that. Okay? Let's talk about that high. There is a high that comes with that, and there is a sinking low feeling that will soon arrive. And I don't know if anyone listening has ever felt a sudden shift of emotions from high to low. And I don't know if that's supposed to be alarming. I don't know, but I know that as soon as you may feel like a blessing has finally come your way, the enemy will try to make you question it. And that's exactly what I felt. Not immediately after, but it was like a day or two later, and it was all hitting me like, wow, I'm really here in Houston. I've really uprooted my life at a whim like this. And although it wasn't at a whim, I gave the core people in my life notice, like my parents, just letting them know, hey, this is what I've been interested in doing. I let them know in advance that I've been wanting to move to Houston. But the sudden shift of just one day being in Boston and the next day moving was definitely a hard impact. It was a hard impact, and there's no, I wish that would have been different. I wish I would have had 2 weeks notice. I wish I would have had a see you later party. I wish I would have had time to meet and not meet, but like, yeah, meet with everyone who I will be departing from, and kind of set a restoration process for all that I'm leaving behind. But I can't, it's out of my control with that, but that's the only thing I wish I could have control. I wish I could have had control over. And it hurts because it feels like I, I don't know, I feel kind of guilty. I feel kind of unsure if I'm, I don't know. It's like I don't want to let anyone else down. And I know I talked about before of people bondage, of the spirit of bondage, the spirit of people bondage in particular, and always worrying about whether or not this person will be happy with this decision that I'm making for my life. I have always been in bondage of thinking whether or not will so and so be happy that I did this? Will so and so be proud that I did this? And it has been of disservice to me as a young adult because as an adult, eventually you make decisions that benefit you. You make decisions for your life and the future that you want for yourself. But as a child, there are decisions made on behalf of you, because you're a child. But at some point in your life, and being that I'm in my late 20s, and that's kind of scary to even say, but I am in a point in my life where, well, when I don't have to do things to please others necessarily, But there is that feeling that I have that I would love if everyone was on board, if everyone accepted everything that I did and supported it 100% and with genuine feelings and all these things. But that's just life. You could be 34 and still not everyone may be on board with the life that you decided for yourself. And that's okay because your journey is your journey. Anyways, yeah, so I say that because I don't know. I just feel like my parents, they have, well, my dad in particular, he loves me I mean, my mom, both of them, they love me very much, as they should. I'm their child. But there is that attachment that parents have that I think it may be a Haitian thing, but I feel like there's a stronger attachment that Haitian parents have over their children, and they don't see you as an adult until you're married, okay? And I am not anywhere near that. So even though I am 27 years old, I am still a baby in their eyes. And so just the thought of me moving so many states away, it's not like I'm moving, to New York or somewhere not too far, but I've moved to a state where you will have to take a flight down here unless you want to go for the car ride, which is not my style. But yeah, and it's hard for them to kind of swallow that pill. More so for my dad, especially because he has an attachment issue. But it's a blessing to have a father who loves me as much as he does. But yeah, and in the midst of that, I felt a cringe of or tinge of guilt, thinking to myself, dang, am I doing the right thing? Did I pray on this hard enough? Am I sure? And it's like, I don't know, am I the only Christian who feels like even when I do pray about something that has been on my spirit for quite some time, even if I do pray it and I see and receive the answer to that conviction and that spirit that has been put upon me, I still question, am I doing the right thing? Is this of God? And I don't know why that is. I don't know why that, like, am I not praying right? Am I not praying hard enough? I seek with wisely counsel. My mother's a prayer warrior, and I always, appreciate her praying over me, praying for me, and all of that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, am I not praying as hard as maybe she is? Like, am I not, like, should I be having these hours long prayer sessions with myself? I just, I don't know. I don't know. And maybe I need to. Maybe I do. But when I pray, I will have, like, it could be, it's more than prayer for me because I talk to God. um I think every time I talk to God, it's a form of prayer. But when you think of formal prayers, I think it's, more of the knees bowed, the hand raised, the eyes closed, and the prostrate position that you will do. Um, Maybe I'm not doing that enough, but I do that like once or twice a day. Maybe I gotta increase. I don't know. Anyways, all I'm saying is, as a Christian, I just pose to anyone else who may be feeling the same way. Do you ever feel like you're not doing enough as a Christian in your walk with Christ? Do you ever feel like you have to question even after you pray, is this God telling me? you know? But I am an overthinker. Everyone who knows me, or at least everyone who knows me, knows, like what? Knows that I am an overthinker. And that just means you're an underthinker. No, but I analyze to the point of no analysis, okay? I am an analyze queen, and there is no such thing as doing things impulsively in my life. Unless I'm like arguing with someone, which I have been doing much better on. Anyways, I could go on a rant. But yeah, like I don't believe I would ever do a big move like this uh without any time spent with God to consult him about it. I've invited God into this process for ever since it's been placed within my heart to come here. So I know this is of God. I know this is of God. Um, but just being here is, like I said, I'm going through an array of emotions. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm sad. It's funny because when you pray for something, it's like, and when it finally happens, I'm still sad. I don't know. And I don't want to get emotional, but there is, all my life, I've been dealing with a spirit of loneliness. Even when I am in a room of people who I am close with, people who I know, people who I may just be acquaintances with, I feel a spirit of loneliness that comes over me. It could be for a long period of time or a short period of time, an hour or 5 minutes. It comes over me like no other. And I don't know if there's anyone else out there who understands what I am talking about, but it is a spirit, y'all. Like, I'm not even trying to be one of those, ooh, googly woogly. Nah, nigga, it's a spirit. And I pray over it, but I fall victim to it. It's like I surrender to it in a way, because I always feel like there is a lack of understanding between me and people. I don't feel like I'm understood. I don't feel like people are on the same page with me. So when I talk about different things, or when things are on my spirit and I discuss them, the receiving end don't get it. And I'm just over here feeling and looking stupid. I'm thinking to God, like, God, why did you create me to have these convictions? Why do you create me to have this passion? Why do you create me to want more? There are a lot of people in my life who are fine with the way life is, yet I'm over here wanting more. What's wrong with me that I want more? I want to be more. I want to do more. I want every year to be more. And it's not just more on I want to be more financially stable. I want to be more independent, but I just want more of, I don't know, it's just a spiritual more that I'm yearning for. I don't want to just go to church and just come back home. And when I seek God, I see God outside of church too. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have my personal one-on-one times with God, and we talk throughout the week. We have a relationship. Yet, when I am in the midst of others, I don't find the same feelings and experiences that I am going through mirrored in someone else. And it just saddens me. It's like, why, God, do you make me this way for me to be alone, even in the midst of people? Anyways, I don't know. Maybe it's depression too, but I try not to speak those things over my life. But yo, if it's a duck, it's a duck. Quack, quack. Okay? And it's a dog. It's a dog. It's a duck. Anyways, I'm just let's bring this back. Anyways, so I just want to talk about, so my move here literally was overnight. I mean, I had the phone interview on Thursday, flew in on Friday, and boom, I'm still here because I got the job and I started work on Monday. So, and yeah. So even though it's, of course it feels like, and it is like a sudden change, a sudden shift. But it was in process, like it was bound to happen. I just ideally would have liked it if I had 2 weeks notice. But yeah, I've been applying for months, and finally things came about. And what's funny is, before I got that phone call, I felt it within my spirit, and I just felt it within me. I said, and I even wrote it on Twitter. So those who saw my tweet, the three of y'all, it's like, no, but those who saw my tweet, no, it was actually retweeted by a cousin. But I wrote, I feel a blessing. No, I didn't even say feel. I said a blessing is coming my way. I just said that. I just knew a blessing is coming my way. And I didn't know exactly in what way and in what shape and what form, or if it was going to be in the context of me getting a job and being able to move out here. I just knew a blessing was coming my way. So that was like 2 days, if not the day before I get the phone call from my job. And it just happened so sudden. And when I said a blessing was coming my way, it was an assurance like no other. I felt a peace unlike any other. As you guys know, I was dealing with the spirit of brokenness. Okay, broke as a joke, the spirit of being overdraft. Okay, the spirit of just struggling. And even though I was finally getting my unemployment checks, I was still feeling like, all right, well, this is it, but and unemployment checks aren't even all that like that. It's still, I'm grateful. I was grateful and I'm still grateful. But my point is that when when I was in that season of brokenness, I was feeling, as you guys know, I was feeling discouraged. I was feeling depressed and just whack about myself, my life, and all that comes with it. And in that moment when I felt a blessing was coming, suddenly those feelings of discouragement, those feelings of whackness just came away just went away. Like, I just felt assured that God had it all together. It was just a strange assurance. I don't know if anyone else, look, let me know if y'all ever experienced something like that before. But you know how you're in a season of struggle, and even though you're still in that season, suddenly you feel and know that God has it under his control, like suddenly those feelings of discouragement and worry and anxiety goes away at a whim, like instantly, y'all. It was it was an amazing feeling, and then suddenly I get that phone call, and then boom boom, I'm in Houston. But yeah, so I'm here and I am trying to get my life. I'm grateful that I have family out here on my father's side. So, and they've been really helpful and hospitable and just amazing. I am astounded to how God literally opened this door for me. And not only did he open this door for me, a lot of things has been falling into place like by itself, like without me pushing or begging or pleading or compromising myself. I have a place to stay, not because I have my own apartment yet, but because my family out here is amazing and offer their home to me until I get my own place. My job offered hotel stay, cover that for me. The pay that I have here is it goes a long way, much more than it would in Boston, because the cost of living here and all of the factors that I researched financially, um, I y'all. And I don't like to talk about money like that, even though obviously I talk about my season of struggle. But when I tell you my job values me and values me in a manner that I've never experienced in previous jobs. I've been in previous jobs where I was just kind of like there and I would do my work, but I wouldn't feel valued. I would feel tolerated. I would feel just like one of many. There's a lot of teacher retention in schools in Boston, which means that many schools don't appreciate the teachers they have and will just end the contract they have with you. You'll be hired at will, which means they have the will to let you go at any point throughout the school year, at any point throughout your time there. No matter how much time you've put in, they could just let you go and be like, well, yeah, we're all set with you. We're cutting down on budgets or whatever the excuse is. And that has been the culture of one of my previous employers. And it sucks. It really makes you feel like, am I not worthy for stability? Am I supposed to just live a life paycheck to paycheck and not live more? It was just a lot of different things piling upon me that I just didn't feel like this can't be it. This just can't be it. Like, this can't be life. This can't. It just absolutely cannot. But yeah, so now I'm at a place where I am valued, I am wanted, I am needed, and my voice and my presence matter. And that's amazing. So I say all that to say, ching ching. Yeah. So I am, stepping on faith. Let me just continue with my notes here. All right, so yeah, spirit of loneliness is something that I have been dealing with my whole entire life. Whole entire life. No matter what season I'm in, I'm always struggling with that. And it's not of God, obviously. It's not of God. And loneliness will have you do things that you shouldn't do, meaning like you could be friends or be in relationships with people who do not serve you, yet you're with them because they may fill a void, at least temporarily, right? Or you pick up a habit that is not conducive and it's actually harming you, yet in the moment of that habit, in the moment of that addiction, there is a sense of understanding, there's a sense of peace, but it's all false. It's all false. Um, and I don't know, y'all. Loneliness is a trip. But what I've learned in the few days I've been here is I'm an emotional wreck. Yeah, that's what I've learned. One. And for those who don't know me, they might I may give off the persona that I have it all together. I have a smile on my face, and I have a poker face most of the time. Like, you can't really see me sweat, but if you know me, I'm sweating. Bitch, I'm sweating. Okay, and I don't sweat like that, but I'm sweating, and it's what honestly. Let me just get to the root of it all. I feel like a lot of people have the out of sight, out of mind syndrome. And I've been noticing that the past couple of days I've been here. I've been noticing that from people who I thought cared about me, people who I thought were my friends. And it's like, it's one thing to get a congratulations, I'm so proud of you, or this or that. But it's another thing when people kind of just leave it at that. It's like, okay, I'm over here in this whole new ass state by myself. And yeah, I have family here, but y'all have been my family the past 27 years of my life, my friends, my core, my circle. And I haven't heard from you. It's just like, did y'all fall off the face of the earth, or what's up? And there goes that spirit of loneliness coming over me. It's one thing to feel lonely because you're physically away from people who you have grown up with, but it's another thing to feel lonely knowing that people are choosing, they're making the cautious choice to not check in on you. And this is not me trying to be a brat or spoiled or needy, but I just figure if I had a close friend, if I was friends or in the presence of someone who I've been in the presence of for all my life, and they suddenly make this big move, and they're essentially by themselves. Yes, they have family, but they're starting a new life here. I would do more than just a obligatory congratulations text. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And this is no shade. If you take it as shade, then that's okay. That's clear. But I just feel like nigga. And it's funny, the people who have been presently present in my life, I never would have expected that from them over another set of people. You know what I mean? But I guess, you find out who's really there for you, who really cares. And maybe it's just me being emotional, but I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna discredit my emotions by, oh, I'm just being emotional, I'm just on my period, I'm not, no, that's not it. I'm just saying, when you're friends with someone who have made this big move, the least you could do is check up. And I understand we all have our own lives, we all have our own responsibilities, but right now you're listening to this podcast and you haven't done that yet. Okay? Let's take this moment and reach out and text me and call me, FaceTime me, talk to me, ask me how am I doing. That is honestly, out of let me say this. The two best questions you could ask me is, how are you doing, and are you hungry? That's it. Look, you will be my friend forever. You'll be my ride or die. Ask me those two questions every single day. No, I mean, not every single day, but like when I think of the question, how are you doing? I'm a full-on sermon to that question. Okay? Well, what God has for me ain't no, like, I will go in on that question, but I have yet to have the experience on doing that. I feel like a lot of people don't give me the opportunity to share how I am doing. So that's why I have a podcast. That's why I have a podcast for you to listen to, regardless, if you choose to, obviously. No, but look, I laugh to keep from crying, even though I still cry. But it just kind of hurts my feelings, honestly. Whether I make that known, like I'm not gonna, you know, put on Snapchat or Instagram story a pic or video of me crying. That's freaking ridiculous when people do that. But I shouldn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like I shouldn't have to write an emotional text, an emotional tweet, uh an undercover tweet, a subliminal message. I shouldn't have to do any of that. I just feel like if you have a friendship with somebody, if you have a familial connection with somebody, you should you should already have done your part as a friend, as a confidant, as a family member, and been like, oh, have I checked on Maxine, who has made this big move? Have I since said anything more to her than the obligatory congratulations text? Have I? No, I haven't. So let me go ahead and do so right now. This is your time. This is your time. Let me go ahead and do so right now. But you know what? Those who have, y'all know who you are, and I appreciate you. But those who haven't, okay. But yeah, like so really feeling. It's only been since Friday. How long? So it's only been a week since I've been here, and it's a week too long. Like I still am the same person. Has like ain't nothing changed about me. I am still the same old, same old. So it's just kind of like, why act brand new just because I'm in a brand new state? Like, why does a friendship have to suddenly go on silent just because I'm not in the same state as you? And I understand the whole. There's a meme going around of it saying, well, of it reading, I may not be the type of friend who talks to you every single day, but know that when I'm here, I'm here. If you need me, I'll show up. It's like, okay, I mean, I understand that. Like, I'm not interested in having a conversation every single day with anyone. I mean, some people, yeah, but like, for the most part, no, I don't require that in my friendships and my relationships. But I mean, in my romantic relationship, you better check up on me. But that's not what I'm speaking on. What I'm speaking on is friendships in my life, friendships and family relationships in my life. I shouldn't like this shouldn't be too much to ask for. That's all I'm saying. Like when a change has happened in someone else's life, you shouldn't just disappear and go ghost. So at the end of the day, I say all that to say I'm just hurt. I'm hurt, and I'm about to swear, but maybe not. Anyways, all I'm saying, that's how I'm feeling. And I just think it's whack. And I'm just being transparent. I'm just like literally just talking right now. And I just feel like a lot of times when you call people out, and I haven't called people out on anything lately anymore, just because I've realized in the past people have a hard time with that. So until people could kind of get with the motion of, oh, hey, I mess up, let me go ahead and admit that, then we could have a conversation. But I'm so over confronting people about how they made me feel or what they did that hurt me, just for them to be defensive. I had a recent conversation with a friend of mine who I was being emotional with. I was being emotional in a sense where I said specifically, I am hurt by your reaction. I am disappointed, you know? I did not speak out of turn. I did not do anything. I just spoke from a vulnerable state. And I didn't get that same vulnerability back. It's like, damn, nigga, were we friends or not? What's really good? It's just like, I just feel like as a friend, you should, anyone, like if you're a friend, you should be open to hearing like, wow, I hurt you, like I'm sorry that I did, and you know what, I'm going to try to not hurt you again. That's it. I know in my friendships in the past, I may have said or done something to hurt the other person, but I have grown to respond in a non-defensive manner. I have grown to respond and be like, you know what, I'm sorry, you know, I didn't mean to say, I didn't mean to hurt you. Let's move on from, I have learned to recognize your emotion and address it and still ask for forgiveness, whether you want to give it or not, but still request for it and want our friendship to still remain. But when I ask for that in return, when I am the friend who says, you know, what you did actually hurt me, you know, this actually made me feel disappointed, I get defense. I get this BS ass response like, nigga, is this a Twilight? I don't know, y'all. It's just when you just go on a new journey, when change happens, it's so crazy to see how many different things unveil. Anyways, I could go on and on about that, but I say all that to say, F these niggas. No. I say all that to say, God is really your source. God is your source of upon source upon source. Because, and this is not to sound pessimistic. It's really not. I don't want to be that girl that like, well, no one's really your friend. No, I don't. There are people out there who are for you, who really do care for you. Yeah, just gotta find them. No. I mean, there are, and I do have some people in my life who fit that description, who are for me. But it just hurts my feelings when there are people who I thought were for me and showed themselves to not be for me, and I guess that was going to unveil itself eventually. But yeah, but it hasn't. And I say that because look, so before I did this move, I started this podcast in May. Towards the end of May, I released my first episode. But I kind of started the podcast before May. I was recording my thoughts out loud and just like talking, kind of practicing for whenever the reveal would be. Not knowing when I would do it, but I would just go ahead and record and just talk about different topics and kind of just practice, So when I finally released my first episode, I received so much support that I just didn't think I would. And I remember everyone who reached out to me and said, congratulations, I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. Like, I really was blessed by this episode. I really think you are doing a great thing. And like so many encouraging words. But I had one particular friend who didn't say any of that, who only said things like, oh, so you really about to release an episode every week? That's one thing. And then said other things like this person never supported me, like never said, that's amazing, keep going, I'm so happy. Like never said words like that. Just kind of said like, kind of shady, like, oh, so you really about to release an episode every week? So you really about to, do this? Like kind of questioning whether I'm really about this. And it's just kind of like, what? Why is that your first response? Why isn't your response something like, wow, I'm so happy that you did it, that's amazing, good for you? Like it was just such a dry response and so unsupportive, and I didn't realize the lack of support then, because I was just in a high of finally releasing it, and I was just in a high of the people in my life who had reached out to me and supported me, but this person never really said anything of support to me. And I realized this person would give shout outs to everybody else in their life, but never shout out to me, never would repost my episodes, never would, repost and tag my stuff, never would promote me, yet I would see this person actively promote other people. So it's like, oh, okay. That's interesting. But I've learned through listening to other podcasts that you may start a new thing in your life, whether it's a new business, a new relationship, a new venture, whatever it is. And there will be people who just wouldn't give a fuck. Like, that's the point blank period. There will be people who just wouldn't care, who just wouldn't support, who just won't support. And it could be because they're secretly a hater. Maybe they just don't believe in you. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they never cared. Whatever it is, it's, it's just someone who don't give a F. So yeah, the same person was just not been supportive, and I don't know, I'm so sensitive, y'all. I am so sensitive. I've always been this way, but I've hid it, and it's like I naturally hide it, because I've always been kind of discouraged from crying and being emotional, all this stuff. And one thing I hate, I hate when people say don't cry. I hate when people say stop crying. Don't cry, stop crying. Like this shame. Like, don't, you better stop crying. you better stop crying. Okay? And I've gotten that like throughout my life. Especially when I was younger, when I didn't have any control over my emotions. And now, even though I am emotional, it comes out at appropriate times, like when in the comfort of my home. But even then, I'm still discouraged from crying. And it's like, stop. Stop. Let me cry. Like, it's okay to cry. And honestly, what I notice is the people who say, don't cry, stop crying, why are you crying? Any of that are people who have not allowed themselves to cry. Let that sit. People who have not allowed themselves to cry, to be emotional, to be vulnerable. People who were not given the opportunity to do so because that innocence has been snatched away from them. So some people who tell me, don't cry, why are you crying, stop crying, I have compassion for you, honestly. I have sympathy for you because you have not been given permission. You have not been given comfort to cry, to share this natural human reaction. And it saddens me that my cry makes you uncomfortable. Like, cry with me, nigga. Like, let's cry together. Let's have a crying party and be happy while doing it. Like, there are tears of every emotion. I cry when I'm angry. Okay? That's when I'm really angry. Like, and I can't even get I can't even get my words out. I'm too busy crying. I cry when I'm sad, obviously. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm overwhelmed. Crying is me. It's in me, okay? If I don't cry, I'm not living. I'm not breathing. But yeah, like it just proves to me that I'm alive. I'm alive, and I go through these emotions, and I try to find the point of it all. And it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be emotional. It's just, stop telling me stop crying. Like, stop telling people stop crying, and stop apologizing for crying. I've learned I'm not, and it's a conscious step I need to continue to make, but I need to say to myself, like, when I am crying in public, I need to stop saying, I'm sorry for crying. I'm sorry. No, no, I'm crying. I'm not sorry for crying. I'm just crying. And if you feel uncomfortable, you can leave, but let me get these tears out. Um, Anyways, I say all that to say I'm a crier, and that's okay. And if you cry too, let's cry together. It's totally fine. Let's stop shaming criers. Ugh, that is such a pet peeve of mine. Anyway, let's get to the Bible. I don't know what point we are. Okay, let's get to the word. All right. So I want to get into Exodus. I'm about to say Exodus. What's good? What's good? Okay, no, let's get to Exodus 4. Exodus 4, and as always, I am reading from the NIV version. Okay? So Exodus 4, and it's in the Old Testament. All right? So anyone who hasn't read their Bible, please know that. Please. All right, so Exodus 4 gets into the call that God has upon Moses, okay? Yo, I get Moses right here because you know how oftentimes all right, let me just get to it. So, so I go on and on. Anyways, so Exodus 4. It's really this whole chapter, but I'm just gonna read certain parts. So let me give you some context. Moses has been called by God to lead the Israelites, okay? To lead them out of slavery, to lead them, to guide them, to be their leader. Okay, so that's just point blank period. So Exodus 4 starts off with Moses answering God's call, saying, what if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you? Question mark. Then the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? A staff, he replied. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord said to him, reach out your hand and take it by the tail. So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. This, said the Lord, is so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. All right. And also God gives him several other instances to prove to the people that he was called by God to lead them. Okay. But I also want to get into verse 11 in chapter 4 of Exodus. The Lord said to him, who gave human... Did I read too far? No. So verse 10, actually. Moses said to the Lord, pardon your servant, Lord. And let's just pause right there, because you know how oftentimes when God calls us to do something, we're like, okay, yeah, but nah, God, I can't. Nope, I can't go up in front of all these people and talk about this topic. I can't go up in front of all these people and share my testimony. I can't go up in front of all these people and, do this or do that. So yeah, we will interject ourselves and get in the way of God's will for our life. And that's been done back in the day. Okay. So please do not feel alone in that. But yeah, here Moses is telling God, pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past, nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue. All right. So we have here Moses, someone who was called and anointed by God to do his will. Yet Moses is feeling inadequate. He is feeling doubtful. He is not at all on board with what God has for him. Okay. He says here that, I'm not much of a great speaker. I'm slow of speech and tongue. I've never really been eloquent. My past doesn't really look too bright. Yeah, this ain't gonna, I don't see it, Lord, But God is instructing him, trying to encourage him, saying, who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. Boom. Let's just pause right there. All right. Oftentimes we may look at our credentials. We may look at our resume. We may think to ourselves and ponder and find ourselves depressed over our past decisions because we didn't do this right. We fell short from the glory of God. We continuously fell short, but God is showing us, is telling us each and every day, He will teach us how to be more like who He has called us to be. So if God has called you to be this leader, to be this helper, to be this counselor, whoever God has called you to be, let Him call you to be that. He will allow for you to experience change, to experience counsel, to experience resources, to be who He has called you to be. So when Moses talks about how he's not he's not the best speaker. He's not the best leader. He's not the best this. He's not the best that. God is literally telling him, I will help you with that. I will help you with how to speak. I will teach you what to say. Boom. Now, I totally get this just because in my line of work, I'm in education, and the job that I have now is in education. I'm a teacher. And even though I love teaching, I know this is a gift that God has given me. I still get nervous, y'all. I still doubt if what I'm saying is accurate. Like, I have a whole master's degree in education, in curriculum and teaching. I know what I'm doing. I've gotten a degree on it. I carried a degree on it. Like, I know what I'm doing. But when it comes to like being in the presence of people and knowing that I'm in a new environment. So it's like, okay, do I have to kind of prove and show? And of course, there is that understanding of, people call it the probationary period, where, you have to kind of prove that you are worthy of this position, that you were given this position off of credit and yours alone. Now you have to prove that you earned it. It's a little nerve-wracking, and I always feel like, am I gonna stumble over myself, or am I teaching this correctly? There's a lot of different things that I experience internally, yet in doing so, God has never let me down, y'all. Every time I speak, right before I speak, right before I lead something, I always ask God, teach me. Teach me how to lead this. Teach me how to teach this. Teach me how to speak this in a manner that stimulate understanding amongst the people who I am teaching to. Teach me how to use my words correctly. Sometimes I may stumble over my words. Sometimes I stutter. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but if I talk fast, which just happens naturally, I have to literally cautiously tell myself, slow down, because it's weird, yo. It's like a fire inside of me that's like, okay, I have to run through these words. I have to just get to the end of the sentence. And when I get there, I mumble over the last 3 words. I'm just like, did that even make sense? There are so many videos that I have recorded that I listen back. I'm just like, was I speaking English? Like, what is this? It's really weird. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if I messed up as a child. Like, what did I do? But I do remember being young and speaking fast on purpose. And maybe that messed me up. Like, I remember coming up to my dad and being like just speaking fast. And it would work. Like, I would literally speak fast and I would understand what I said. But maybe it wasn't clear enough on the receiving end. Anyways, I say all that to say I stumble over my words. Now, I won't say stutter because I don't like the word stutter, but I stumble and I have to cautiously slow down. As with other people, it may not be a cautious thing. They may just naturally speak super clearly and confidently and without any shakiness in their voice. But for me, it's totally different, okay? And it's weird because I'm a teacher. Teachers don't stutter. Teachers don't stumble over their words. Teachers don't feel shaky when they talk. Well, hello. My name is Maxine, and I do just that. Okay? Yet, I wake up every day and do it again. I wake up every day and try harder. And some days I don't try. Not I don't try, but I've noticed with myself, I don't give myself enough credit to push myself. Sometimes I'm lazy and I know that's not of God. So, being that I'm in this new position, they sought me out, they really wanted me, they value me, I really have to show and prove. I can't sit back, I can't just be lackadaisical. I can't just be, I have to be. Do you understand what I mean? I have to be. And I've never had to before. But now, ever since I've been asking God to push me, help me grow more, I believe this is an opportunity to help me grow. In this position, it's definitely like they are needing for people, for me to be initiative, to go ahead and make decisions, and they welcome that. And my previous employers never really did. And I would stay comfortable in the thought and knowing that, okay, well, I'll just be in the shadows and I'll do my class and I'll just sit back. I won't speak up. I won't, offer my leadership services. I'll just sit back. But with this position, ain't no sitting back. They need me to speak up. And there's a lot of areas where they really need me. And that's not to sound cocky, but it's my experience, literally, from what I've been through, from what I've seen in my previous jobs. I could bring so much to the table in this environment that they would greatly appreciate. And there's no other way for me to bring that forward if I am not initiative. So this is, when I tell you this is really of God, and there's a lot of signs that show me this is of God. But it's definitely, I do feel like I'm being stretched, because I know I'm being stretched past my comfort zone. For so long professionally, like I said, I've been kind of in the shadows. I've done what I'm supposed to do, but I never went beyond the minimum. I never had to, but for this position, it's like, not it's like, I have to show and prove. They always credit, like, yeah, she has like, literally, ooh, excuse me, every parent that has come, for the first week of school, they're like, yeah, this is Miss Morency. She has her master's, and we're just so excited for her to be here. And all these, and I'm just like standing there, like, yeah, I got my master's. I don't know. I don't give myself enough credit, to be honest. But yeah, when they were just kind of describing me, I'm just like, okay, like, damn, maybe I am a big deal. And I say that because in my previous jobs, it wasn't a big deal. It was kind of like, okay, so move out the way, But that's sad, because it is a big deal. No matter how many people have their masters, there's a lot of people out there who don't, and that's no shade. You don't have to. Not everyone needs to have their masters, and that's totally fine. But my point is, there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of oomph and emphasis when you have an advanced degree. So the devil has definitely made me feel like it wasn't enough, or that it didn't mean anything, because of the environment that I was in that never really gave it much value, But being in an environment where I am like looked at as a prize, yo, the head of the school there, who is someone who, she doesn't have her master's. She has been in many seminars, she said herself, but she doesn't have the experience that I have. But she's the head of the school. Y'all understand what I'm talking about? She's the head of the school, though. Yet I'm over here with with my degree, with my resume, but I'm not the head of the school. My point is there is so much opportunity here for me to grow, for me to climb that professional ladder because of the degree that I have. And I know I'm placed here to grow, to further myself, to get that more that I've been looking for in every aspect of my life. Anyways, let's go back to Moses because I went off on the tangent. Anyways, so I mean, no, I was on point anyway. So yeah, like oftentimes when God has placed it within us to do his will, we question it. We feel like we are unworthy. We feel like we are irredeemable because of whatever we may have done in the past, whatever that may have been done to us. We feel like, you know, how would God use us? Why would God use us? And it's just sad. It's sad that we limit ourselves and we limit our thoughts and we put ourselves down the way we do. And I say we because I'm a part of that. So being out here, even though I am valued, it's just the first week that I survived. But in the midst of it, I was thinking to myself, like, can I do this? Can I be the initiator? Can I be the problem solver? Can I be all that I said that I could be in my interview? All that I say that I am through my resume? Can I do all of that? Like I would really question myself in the midst of it. Like while I was being hyped up by my colleagues, towards the parents of the students, I'm standing there thinking to myself, like, can I really do this? Yo, the devil will really have you question yourself, y'all. Yo, when I tell you pray incessantly. Please never stop praying because the enemy is prowling. He is attacking your mind. He is attacking your body. He is attacking your spirit. He is making you feel like you cannot and that you are not. Yet God is telling you you are because he is. Okay? God is, therefore you are. Therefore you have the victory. Therefore, because of his blood, you can, you will, you shall, you did, and you will continue. Period. So even though you may have the credentials, even though you may feel like, oh, this is a new experience, can I really take on this responsibility? Please continue to seek the kingdom of God because he will see you through it. He will take away those feelings and those thoughts and those images of unworthiness, of inadequacy, and he will fill you up with the strength that he has. Because like it says in the word, in your weakness, his strength is magnified. He will shine out. He will show up, show out, all of that. So please understand it. Take that to your advantage. God wants you to talk to him. He wants you to pray to him. He wants you to invite him into your life. But we can't do that if we are not doing that. Like if we're not coming to him, if we're trying to figure it out on our own, if we're avoiding prayer, if we're avoiding fellowship, if we're avoiding church. And that's another thing. I need to find a church here. The church that I've been wanting to go to, first I gotta get my apartment settled and everything, and then figure out not transportation, but my car's getting shipped here, by the way. But I gotta figure out the distance between the places that I've been looking online and on Instagram, so I could kind of get my life in order. But yeah, I just pray, y'all. Pray for me. I will pray for you. I receive your prayers. I receive your send-offs of energy. I don't want to say that. I'm not the type to, energy, give off good energy and vibes. Stop. That's demonic. Praise the Lord at all times, okay? Anyways, my point is pray. So in this season that I am in, I still have to force and it's a force sometimes, because many times I just want to crawl up in a ball and be like, is this really what you want for me, God? Am I really supposed to be here? Even though God has proven to me that I am supposed to be here, that He has sent me here, and I have to continue to seek His kingdom to continue to walk in the best path He has for me. Therefore, I'm just going to continue going through it. Um, um, I'm going to continue to worship Him, and I'm going to make the cautious decision to do so. Because, like I said, the spirit of loneliness is definitely upon me. And it's not to give it power over me. I'm not trying to surrender to it. I'm just calling the duck for being a duck. Quack, quack. Okay. Um, my point is, when I choose to stay sad, when I choose to allow loneliness to get the best of me, I am not recognizing who God is. I am not recognizing the source that God is in my life. Therefore, even in your hardest times, even in my hardest times, even in my space of loneliness, I still need to encourage myself to worship. And I still need to recognize who God is more and more. Because when we are worshiping God, when we are inviting His presence in our presence, we are forgetting, we are releasing the power that these negative thoughts and these negative emotions that is placed upon us, that we give power to have upon us. And it's a struggle. I'm just being honest. It's a struggle. It's a cautious choice, but we have to make it. He gives us free will for a reason. And yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm honestly feeling better right now. As I started this podcast, as I started this episode, I was feeling a little nervous to kind of get into the deep root of my feelings throughout this process. But gathering my emotions throughout recording this episode, I am feeling His peace upon me. But y'all, I could feel God's peace like upon me for like a good couple hours, and then boom, next afternoon comes, and I'm just hit with I'm lonely. It's really crazy. Like 1 second I'm good, and then the next second I'm worried about the decisions I made. Was this the right choice? Am I good? Was I foolish? Did I really hear from God? Anyways, I guess that's what it is. But I will seek the kingdom of God continuously. I will still worship Him and praise His mighty name. Lord, thank you for giving me the conviction to go ahead and record this episode. I've been trying to avoid, not I've been trying, I said it earlier. I definitely been procrastinating, but that I have. Anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and end with prayer, y'all. Father God, I thank you for your convictions. I thank you for your strength that is magnified in our weakness. I thank you for the steps that you have for us to take and the path that you have for us individually, Lord. God, I ask for release from bondage, release from the thought of wanting to please others, Lord. Release from insecurity, anxiety, fear, depression. Fill us up with your love and your grace, Lord. Fill us up with your peace, Father God. Lord, we ask that you just continue to hold us, carry us, and guide us along the best pathway you have for our life, as it says in your word. Jesus, I ask that you just continue to convict us accordingly. Allow us to be sensitive to the will that you have for our life. And Lord, we just thank you right here and right now for the doors that you are opening for us. Thank you right here and right now for the revelations that you will have for us to experience. Thank you right here and right now for all that is to come and for all that you have delivered us from. We've released the spirit of loneliness and we receive your comfort. We receive your peace. We receive the spirit of boldness, the spirit of love, and the spirit of a sound mind. In Jesus' name I pray to you. Amen. Peace. May God be with y'all. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. Please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and follow and comment on SoundCloud. God bless.